This may be the best entry-level spear gun on the market. And in some circles, this brand is a little bit polarizing. Let's get into it. This is the Mako Titan Elite. Before we get into it, be sure to check out these shirts on my website. I'll link in the description below, but it supports the channel and also supports up and coming artists. What I do is collaborate with different artists to bring fresh spearfishing designs to you all. And every batch is a brand new artist. So be sure to check it out in the description below, but back to the video. Let's go over the brand, Mako, and then the specs of this exact model. And then I'll give you my opinion on, well, first my experience with the brand and the spear gun and my opinion on this specific spear gun. So first, let's talk about Mako. So I'm gonna read this directly off the website and I quote, "Dear Spiro, Mako Spear Guns was founded on a unique concept of being more than just a manufacturer and supplier of high quality spear guns and underwater hunting gear. With this unique concept, we focus our attention on the spearfishing community instead of the business of selling gear. It is our belief that giving back to the community in which we serve is the best way to grow as a company. And in doing so, it has been most rewarding for us. Whether it be a diver or his family in need, a local spearfishing club, or a nonprofit organization with a worthy cause, the level of commitment we have for our community translates into building relationships with our customers. By combining this deep connection to the spearfishing community with a line of high quality spear guns and underwater hunting gear, Mako Spear Guns will continue to grow, of course, continue to give back. Dive safe, Dano." So that's straight off the website. But from what I understand with the company, they've been around for a long time. I first started spearfishing about 15 years ago. They've been around since then, but they are a direct to consumer spearfishing brand. So they have a ton of other products beyond just spear guns. They do floats, accessories, spear guns obviously, float lines, all sorts. You could check them out on the website. I'll link it in the description below, but they are a direct to consumer website and they've been that way. And so yeah, that's a little bit about the company and what their mission statement, but let's go over this spear gun. Let's get into the technical specs now, starting with the rear. We have an ergonomic grip with a rubberized loading butt for comfort and slip resistance. Sitting in that handle, we have a Hermes double roller trigger mech, a reel mount integrated into the handle as well that's compatible with Mako reels and also some others. This allows for tool-free attachment and removal. The barrel and track is a open track barrel with elevated side rails. This helps guide the spear to reduce lateral movement. And the barrel lengths are available from 50 centimeters to 130 centimeters. And this barrel can be customized from black, blue camo, brown camo, and various other colors. The shaft is a South African shark fin tab spear, which includes a stainless steel flopper. The muzzle is an open muzzle configuration. The current setup I'm showing now is a 2-band 14.5 millimeter bands, but you can put up to 3 14.5 millimeter bands. An integrated shark spike is at the end of the muzzle for added safety. And you are able to choose your band colors and your handle accents. Before I go any further, let me explain what I believe is a quote-unquote entry-level spear gun. And I put that in quotes because that can mean different things for different people. But let me explain mine. There's a couple factors. I think there's 3 main factors that I consider or look at a little bit more critically when I look for a entry-level spear gun. How I define it is 1, and the main thing is price. Price is important because if you're just starting out spearfishing, you want to try out the sport, then you are likely not going to be buying the best of your spear gun, fins, everything that comes with spearfishing. You are probably not looking for the best. If you can or you want to do that, totally up to you. But I think the majority of the people looking are very price sensitive because even if they have the means, they don't know if they're going to stick around. So I think that's a really important factor that most people, I think, are concerned about. Second is the ability for that spear gun to grow with you. And what I mean by that is when you start out spearfishing, you buy a quote unquote cheap or affordable spear gun. Many of the ones on the market that are in that very cheap price range, it's a consumable. You're gonna use it and then you probably won't touch it ever again because mainly the parts, they're made out of plastic, which is, you know, if you just wanna start out, totally up to you, but I would prefer something that can grow with you, or at least you can use as a backup gun even when you get better. So something that can grow with you or stay with you a long time is what I consider a good one. And the third part, I kind of alluded to a little bit in the second factor, but parts, like what kind of parts are you getting? I think primarily I look at the trigger mech and then a couple other things, but are they gonna last? Are they good? I think those are the three main factors I look for. So again, price, I guess growability is a word. And then third is the parts. Like what kind of parts are you getting? Those are the three main factors that I look at when I look for a quote unquote good entry-level spear gun. So with that out of the way, let's go over why I think this is one of the best spear guns on the market for entry-level spear guns. So this is the Titan Elite. As I mentioned, this is the entry-level or the cheapest spear gun that you can get on Mako's website at the recording of this video. I think there's a couple things I want to highlight, but based on my definition, the price, $325 landed is pretty darn good. In that space, you're competing with, I think, the most notable competition that I know is the Pathos Open Pro, which is a solid spear gun for sure. And I forgot which Rob Allen it was, but there's a Rob Allen that's in that space, which is also great. Not in the US, but the Adreno Eden is very, very similar to this one. So if you're in Australia, the Adreno Eden, I believe that's what it's called. It's very similar to this, I will say. So anyway, so with that definition, the price, I think this is definitely in that ballpark. You can get cheaper spear guns like the Bouchat Espadon, which is around $100 all the way up to this. But those, one, you're not getting the quality, and a couple points I want to highlight is the trigger mech. The trigger mechs typically on those $100-ish ones, $200 are plastic, and they're not gonna last. And I know if you're just starting, you're like, I'm gonna get a new one anyway. Well, it's good to practice on kind of get a good look and feel, but also I think just why not use it as a backup gun later? Like something like this. This is totally a usable backup gun that you could throw on a boat, and if someone needs to use it or someone wants to borrow it, if they just wanna start out spearfishing, you know you're giving them something that you have confidence in that is gonna hold up to the elements. Plastic trigger mechs, over time, they're gonna wear out, and then I don't know if I would trust it long term. So there's that. Other stuff that's pretty awesome with this is that it's modular, and what I mean by that is Mako has some kits that they sell on the website that you could convert this to a roller if you wanted, even a double roller. You can update a lot of things on this spear gun that you can do straight from Mako. There are plenty of spear guns that you can, you know, ragtag a bunch of parts in, put together, like my buddy of mine. He has a Salvamar carbon barrel with a Pathos D'Angelo 2 handle and a Manny Sub muzzle. So you can do that, and this is not unique to Mako to be able to swap parts like that, but to easily do that without adapters or having to do any sort of special work, go to a dive shop and tell them to figure it out, or you figure it out yourself. It's really nice to have, and you can update this the way you need if you wanted to. One I wanted to highlight is the trigger mech, Hermes double roller, really smooth trigger mech. And compared to a friction trigger like the Pathos D'Angelo 2 handle, I have a Pathos, I'm very familiar with that one. I've used it for a very long time, my Pathos, and I had an issue recently, somewhat recently, it's been 2 years now, but essentially the friction in the trigger mech, it's a friction trigger, so all that means is that when you pull the trigger, it's metal on metal contact, there's no roller or anything, and every time you pull, just doing that multiple times over and over and over again, it's gonna wear out on the metal. And what had happened was when I was trying to feed in the shaft, one time it just yanked the trigger right out of it. So we had to replace it with the new trigger group, but works fine and it worked great for a very long time. So it's not like a problem that you would probably see in any sort of reasonable short time period. you would have to use it a lot to see that problem. But I would say the trigger feel on this spear gun, I think it's better than my Pathos Sniper roller. So those are my 2 cents on it. Handle feel is pretty good, pretty decent. It has a safety built in. I personally don't like the safeties, but if you're just starting out, it's a great option to have. I think more importantly than the safety is being aware of your muzzle, have muzzle awareness at all times. Don't point it at anything you don't want to shoot. So keep that in mind too. Outside of that, I mean, you have the ability to add a reel later on. I think this is very important. Many entry-level spear guns below this price point, you don't get a reel mount. But in this general price point, like the Rob Allen or the Pathos, you do have that option. So in this price point of like $300-ish, they typically will have a reel mount as well. So you do have a reel mount. You can add a reel later on if you want to. Of course, you get your bungees, and then the muzzle, as I mentioned, you can swap them out. And a little plus is having a little shark barb here. And what that is after you shoot a fish or the shaft leaves the spear gun, you have little points. So if you are in waters where there's a lot of sharks, you can use this to poke it out of the way. Probably more of a problem in Florida, but you have that available. Nice little feature. It comes with 2 bands. They are, I think, by Prime Line, I believe, but they're very reminiscent to me of Manny sub bands, and I really love those. So the bands feel great. Nice linear pull. Feels really nice. I think this is a great setup for an entry-level spear gun. If you're just starting out, it's an aluminum pipe gun. It's gonna be resilient, and yeah, I think it's a great choice. One thing I will add, it doesn't change the performance or give you extra performance, but when I was starting out, I still think it's kind of cool, but I would have definitely thought it is cool. But you can customize this spear gun, and as you can tell, this one is loud and proud, very colorful with the yellow bands, the Mahi print on the barrel, which is, I will say, it's not painted, it's like wrapped, and I could see like where the cut lines were. They're not super noticeable, but you can kind of tell. But still, that, and then the yellow highlights on the handle. This was all customized on the site. So this is included in that price point, which I think puts this over the edge of the other spear guns. Well, I think the trigger mech is a huge plus, but just having that ability to customize your spear gun is a nice touch. You don't get that really in many dive shops in this price point. You kind of get what you get, but you could adjust the band colors. You can adjust the barrel color. It could just be black, it could be brown. I think they have pink too. There's all sorts of colors, and of course the handle and the line. And even the line color you can choose, I believe. But this whole thing was configured online and shipped to my house in about a week. So it's pretty awesome. I think for the price, really tough to beat. There are others on the market. This doesn't blow the other ones out of the water, but I think there's enough things on here that are done well that make this, I think, the best entry-level spear gun you can get on the market today. This is the Mako Titan Elite. Again, I got this with my own money, so take that for what you will. Let me know if you agree, disagree, your experience with it, if you've had one before. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one.